The day ends in the usual chaos of Iraq. Dust clings to everything, and the distant sound of gunfire blends into the background noise of my thoughts. I'm exhausted, my muscles aching from the weight of the gear, the tension that never really leaves. I find a moment to sit, pull out my phone, and there it is, Julia's name on the screen. It's a small comfort, seeing her name, knowing that back home, there's something normal waiting for me. But the text isn't what I expect. We need to talk. I want a divorce. My eyes blur, the words not making sense at first. I read it again, and then once more. The meaning sinks in like a cold blade between my ribs. Julia has been my anchor, the one steady thing in my life. We met when we were both so young, full of plans for the future. She was everything I wanted, smart, beautiful, supportive of my career even when it meant months apart. I thought we had an understanding, that the distance was something we could overcome. The last time we spoke, she told me she missed me, that she couldn't wait for me to come home. And now this? My fingers hover over the screen, shaking. I want to call her, to hear her voice, to demand an explanation. But I can't. Not here, not now. I think back to the beginning, how strong we were together. Sure, there were fights. What couple doesn't fight? But nothing that would lead to this. I thought we were solid, that we could get through anything. I trusted her. I stare at the text, numb. The words are clinical, cold. No emotion, just a decision she's clearly already made. We need to talk. I want a divorce. 7 words that shatter my world. A soldier across the room laughs at something on his phone, oblivious to the storm raging in my mind. I glance around, suddenly feeling very alone. I don't tell anyone. What would I say? That the life I thought I had is gone? That my wife, my partner, the woman I've loved for years, just walked out on me with a few taps of her fingers? I respond, forcing my hands to steady. If this will make you happy, I'll do it. My heart hammers in my chest as I hit send. It feels like surrender, like I'm giving up without a fight. But what choice do I have? She's already gone. I slip the phone back into my pocket, the reality of my situation hitting hard. The war outside seems easier than the battle waiting for me at home. I thought I knew pain, but this is something else entirely. My mind races with memories of our life together, now tainted by her betrayal. The day ends like any other, but everything has changed. I stare at my phone, heart pounding, as Julia's next message comes through. I've been seeing someone else. The words hit me like a bullet ripping through my chest. I blink, trying to clear my vision, but the message is still there, staring back at me, taunting me. I thought the divorce was bad enough, but this is another level of betrayal. My hands tremble as I type back, who? A simple word, but it feels like it takes all my strength to send it. The seconds tick by slowly, painfully, until her response appears. His name is Mark. I didn't want you to find out like this, but I can't keep lying to you. We've been together for months. I'm sorry. Months. She's been with him for months. My mind races, trying to piece together the timeline. All those nights I called her, the times she was distant, distracted. Was she with him then? The thought is like acid in my stomach, burning its way up my throat. I should be angry. I should feel something other than this hollow ache, but all I feel is numbness. I type back, if this will make you happy, I'll do it. Her response is almost immediate. Thank you. I didn't want it to be like this, but it's better for both of us. Better? For who? For her? For him? Definitely not for me, but I don't say any of that. Instead, I shut off my phone and push it deep into my pocket, as if hiding it can somehow make all of this disappear. I lean back against the cold, rough wall of the barracks, closing my eyes. The sounds of war outside fade into the background, and all I can think about is Julia. The woman I loved, the woman I thought loved me, is with another man. And she's been with him for months. Nights here in Iraq are long and restless, and tonight is no different. I lie in my bunk, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment with Julia over and over in my mind. I wonder what I missed. What signs were there that I ignored? When did we start drifting apart? I try to pinpoint the moment, but it's like trying to catch the smoke with my bare hands. Images of Julia with another man flood my thoughts. I imagine them together in our bed, his hands on her body, her moaning his name. The thought makes my blood boil, but there's nothing I can do. I'm thousands of miles away, stuck in this hellhole while she's back home, moving on with her life. I don't sleep that night. Instead, I get up before dawn and head out to the training grounds. The physical exhaustion is better than the alternative, lying there, torturing myself with images of Julia and Mark. I push my body to the limit, running until my lungs burn, lifting until my muscles scream in protest. But no matter how hard I push, I can't escape the pain in my chest. As the days turn into weeks, I bury myself in my work. The war outside is a welcome distraction from the war inside my head. My fellow soldiers notice the change in me, but they don't ask questions. They know better than to pry. We all have our demons, and mine are clawing at my insides, trying to tear me apart. At night, I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind filled with thoughts of Julia and the life I thought we were building together. I picture her with Mark, imagine their conversations, the way she must look at him, the way she used to look at me. My fists clench at the thought, but there's nothing I can do. I'm here, and she's there, and that's the way it is. I survived the war, but barely. When I finally get on that plane home, I feel like a shell of the man who left. I've seen things that will haunt me for the rest of my life, but nothing compares to the pain of losing Julia. I try to prepare myself for the moment I'll see her again, but nothing can truly ready me for that. When I land, she's not there to meet me. It's my mother who greets me at the airport, her eyes filled with tears as she wraps me in a tight hug. "I'm so glad you're home," she whispers, but I barely hear her. All I can think about is Julia, and the fact that she couldn't even bother to show up. I move on, or at least I try to. I meet Emily a few months after I return. She's everything I should want: beautiful, smart, caring. She doesn't pry into my past, doesn't ask about the war or about Julia. She just accepts me as I am, broken and all. We get married a year later. I tell myself I'm over Julia, that I've moved on, but there's always that nagging doubt in the back of my mind. What if she was the one? What if I made a mistake by letting her go so easily? Emily and I have kids, and they become my whole world. I throw myself into being a father, trying to make up for all the things I lost. But every now and then, when the house is quiet and everyone's asleep, I find myself thinking about Julia, wondering where she is, what she's doing, if she's happy with Mark. 10 years pass in the blink of an eye. My life with Emily is good, solid, but there's always that shadow in the corner of my mind. And then, out of nowhere, Julia reappears. It starts with a text, just like it did all those years ago. "Can we meet? There's something I need to tell you." My heart skips a beat when I see her name, and for a moment I consider ignoring it. But curiosity gets the better of me, and I agree to meet her. We meet at a small cafe, the kind of place we used to go to when we were still together. When I walk in, she's already there, sitting at a table by the window, looking just as beautiful as I remember. But there's something different about her now, something I can't quite put my finger on. "Hi," she says softly when I sit down. There's an awkward silence, and I realize I have no idea what to say to her. The last time we spoke, she was breaking my heart, and now here she is, sitting across from me, like no time has passed at all. "What do you want, Julia?" I finally ask, my voice sharper than I intend. I'm still angry, still hurt, and seeing her again brings all those feelings rushing back to the surface. She takes a deep breath, looking down at her hands. "I lied to you," she says, and my heart stops. "About everything." I blink, not sure I heard her right. "What do you mean?" "Mark," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. "There was no Mark. I made him up." My mind goes blank, and for a moment I can't process what she's saying. "What are you talking about?" I didn't want you to hate me, she continues, her voice trembling. I was scared. Scared of being alone. Scared of what might happen to you. So I made up the affair, thinking it would be easier if you thought I was with someone else. I thought it would make the divorce cleaner, less painful. I stare at her, trying to make sense of it all. You made it up? You lied to me? She nods, tears welling up in her eyes. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. My hands curl into fists under the table. The anger I thought I'd buried comes rushing back, hotter and more intense than ever. So all this time, I've been torturing myself, thinking you were with another man, and it was all a lie? I didn't know what else to do, she whispers, tears streaming down her face now. I was so afraid of losing you, of losing myself. But instead I lost everything. I push back from the table, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. You didn't just lose me, Julia. You destroyed me. I leave the cafe without another word, my mind spinning. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, has lied to me in the worst possible way. And now as the past comes crashing back into my life, I realize that moving on isn't going to be as easy as I thought. I sit in the car outside the cafe, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turn white. My head is spinning with everything Julia just said. The betrayal I thought I'd buried deep within is alive and clawing its way back to the surface. She lied to me. Lied about the affair, about Mark, about everything. And now she expects what? Forgiveness? Understanding? My phone buzzes on the seat beside me. It's a text from Emily. Everything okay? You've been gone a while. I stare at the screen, my stomach churning. How do I even begin to explain this to her? She knows something's wrong. She's always had an intuition about these things. I've been distant since Julia reached out, and Emily's noticed. I told her it was just some unresolved issues, but I didn't tell her who those issues were with. I forced myself to respond, my fingers moving mechanically. Yeah, just catching up. Be home soon. The lie feels bitter on my tongue, but what else can I do? I'm not ready to tell Emily yet. I don't even know how to process this myself. I start the car and drive home, my mind racing. The roads blur as memories of my past with Julia flood in. Our first date, the way she looked at me when I proposed, the promises we made. All of it feels like a twisted joke now, the foundation of our relationship built on lies. When I pull into the driveway, the house is dark, save for the soft glow of the living room lamp. I sit there for a moment, taking deep breaths, trying to steady myself before I face Emily. But as soon as I walk through the door, I know it's too late. She's sitting on the couch, her legs tucked under her, a book in her lap. She looks up as I enter, her eyes searching mine. Hey, she says quietly. How did it go? I drop my keys on the table and sit down heavily beside her. The words stick in my throat, and for a moment, I don't think I can say them, but I have to. It was more complicated than I expected. She sets the book aside, her expression worried. What do you mean? I lean forward, resting my elbows on my knees, my head in my hands. Julia, she told me the truth about the divorce, about why she did it. Emily is silent for a long moment, and when she speaks, her voice is soft. And? There was no affair, I say, the words feeling heavy and raw. She made it up. She was scared. Scared of being alone. Scared of what might happen to me. She thought if I believed she was with someone else, it would make it easier for both of us. Emily's brow furrows in confusion. So she lied to you? About the whole thing? I nod, still staring at the floor. Yeah. The whole thing. It was all a lie. She's quiet for a moment, processing this new information. How do you feel about it? I don't know how to answer that. Angry, hurt, betrayed. None of those words seem big enough to capture what I'm feeling. I don't know, I finally say. I thought I'd moved on, but now it feels like everything is coming back, like it never really went away. Emily reaches out and takes my hand, her touch warm and comforting. We've built a life together, she says softly. Whatever this is, we can work through it. Together, I nod, squeezing her hand. But inside, I'm not so sure. Julia's confession has reopened old wounds I thought were long healed, and I can feel the darkness creeping back in. Over the next few days, I try to push it all aside, focus on my work, on my family, but the questions keep gnawing at me. Why did she really lie? Was it just fear, or is there something more? I start digging, looking into Julia's life, trying to piece together the truth. It starts innocently enough, a few online searches, some old contacts from the military, but it quickly becomes an obsession. I need to know everything, every detail, every lie. I reach out to a buddy of mine, Tom, who still works in military intelligence. We served together in Iraq, and he owes me a favor. I need you to look into something for me, I tell him, keeping my voice casual, even though my heart is pounding in my chest. Tom chuckles on the other end of the line. You always were a nosy bastard. What's up? It's personal, I say. Just need to dig up some information on someone. Can you help? Depends, he says, his tone more serious now. Who are we talking about? I hesitate, knowing I'm crossing a line, but I push forward anyway. Julia, my ex-wife. I need to know what she's been up to these last 10 years. There's a pause, and I can almost hear Tom's mind working on the other end. You sure you want to go down this road? Sometimes it's better to leave the past where it is. I need to know, Tom, I say, my voice hard. I can't move on until I know the truth. He sighs. All right, I'll see what I can find. But this stays between us, yeah? Yeah, I agree, my stomach nodding with both anticipation and dread. Just between us. While I wait for Tom to get back to me, I can't stop myself from going deeper. I start driving by Julia's house, parking down the street, watching from a distance. It's a nice neighborhood, upscale, with neatly trimmed lawns and expensive cars parked in the driveways. I see her come and go, living what looks like a perfectly normal life. But I can't shake the feeling that there's something beneath the surface, something she's not telling me. One night I follow her to a bar on the other side of town. It's late, and the place is almost empty, just a few people nursing drinks at the bar. Julia sits at a table in the back, her face partially hidden by the shadows. She looks tense, her eyes darting around the room like she's expecting someone. I slip into a seat at the bar, ordering a drink but keeping my eyes on her. Minutes pass, and then a man walks in, a man I don't recognize. He's tall, muscular, with a shaved head and a hard look in his eyes. He doesn't belong in this place, doesn't belong anywhere near Julia, but she stands up when she sees him, her face lighting up with something that looks like relief. They sit down together, talking in hushed tones. I can't hear what they're saying, but the way she leans in, the way his hand brushes hers, it sets off alarm bells in my head. This isn't just a casual meeting. There's something going on here, something I need to know about. I leave before they notice me, my mind racing. Who is this guy? What's he doing with Julia? I thought I was looking for answers, but now I have more questions than ever. The next day, Tom calls me back. His voice is grim. You were right to dig, man. Julia's been in some deep shit. My heart skips a beat. What do you mean? She's been connected to a criminal organization. Nothing concrete, but there are whispers, money laundering, drugs, maybe even arms deals. It's all low-level stuff, under the radar, but it's there. The world seems to tilt beneath me. Julia? Involved with criminals? It doesn't make sense. The woman I knew, the woman I loved, she couldn't be mixed up in something like that. But then again, she's already proven she's capable of things I never imagined. What do I do? I ask, my voice hollow. Tom hesitates. You need to be careful. If she's involved with these people, they won't hesitate to come after you if they think you're a threat. I hang up the phone, my mind reeling. This is so much bigger than I ever imagined. It's not just about Julia and me anymore. It's about my family, my life. I'm in over my head and I have no idea what to do next. That night I lie awake beside Emily, staring at the ceiling, my mind spinning with all the possibilities. I want to protect her, protect our kids, but how do I do that when I don't even know what I'm up against? I thought I could handle this, thought I could dig up the truth and walk away, but now I realize just how dangerous this game is. I get out of bed and go downstairs, needing space to think. The house is silent, the only sound the ticking of the clock on the wall. I pour myself a drink, the burn of the whiskey doing little to calm my nerves. I've spent years trying to move on from Julia, trying to forget the pain she caused me. But now I see that I never really let go, and now it's all coming back to haunt me. I can't keep this from Emily any longer. She deserves to know the truth, no matter how ugly it is. But telling her means putting her in danger, dragging her into this mess. I don't know if I can do that. In the morning, I sit Emily down and tell her everything. The words spill out of me in a rush, all the lies, all the secrets. I watch her face change as she listens. First confusion, then fear, and finally a deep sadness that cuts me to the core. "So what do we do?" she asks when I finish, her voice trembling. I shake my head, feeling utterly lost. "I don't know, but we can't stay here. Not if Julia's involved with these people." Emily's eyes fill with tears, but she nods. "Whatever you decide, I'm with you. But promise me you'll keep us safe." "I will," I vow, pulling her into my arms. "I won't let anything happen to you or the kids." But even as I say the words, I know they're a lie. I've already let something happen by digging into Julia's life, by dragging Emily into this. I've opened a door that should have stayed closed, and now I have no idea how to shut it again. The next few days are a blur. I contact a few old military buddies, setting up a safe place for Emily and the kids. It's a cabin out in the woods, isolated, secure. I tell her it's just a precaution, that it's only for a little while, but I know deep down it might be much longer. I spend my days obsessing over every detail I've learned, every piece of the puzzle. I don't go to work, I barely eat, and when I do sleep, it's restless and filled with nightmares. All I can think about is Julia, where she is, what she's doing, who she's with. One night, after Emily and the kids are safely tucked away at the cabin, I get in my car and drive to Julia's house. I park a few blocks away and walk the rest of the distance, my heart pounding in my chest. It's late, the street is dark and quiet, and I feel a sense of dread settling over me. I reach her house and slip into the backyard, keeping to the shadows. The back door is unlocked, and I slip inside, my body tense with anticipation. I move through the house silently, my eyes adjusting to the darkness. And then I see her. She's sitting at the kitchen table, a laptop in front of her face illuminated by the screen's glow. She looks tired, worn out, and for a moment I feel a pang of guilt for what I'm about to do. But I push it aside. I need answers, and she's the only one who can give them to me. "Julia," I say, my voice low and hard. She jumps, her eyes wide with fear as she looks up at me. "What are you doing here?" she whispers, her voice trembling. "I want the truth," I say, stepping closer. "All of it." She swallows hard, her hands shaking as she closes the laptop. "I had already told you everything." "Bullshit," I snap, cutting her off. "You lied to me once. I'm not falling for it again." She stares at me for a long moment, and then she breaks. The tears start to fall, and she covers her face with her hands. "I'm sorry," she sobs. "I'm so sorry." "Tell me everything," I demand, my voice cold. "Who are you involved with? What are you hiding?" She looks up at me, her eyes filled with despair. "You don't understand," she whispers. "They're dangerous. They'll kill us both if they find out I told you." "Then why did you drag me into this?" I ask, my anger boiling over. "Why lie to me? Why come back now?" She wipes her eyes, her hands shaking. "Because I couldn't live with myself anymore," she says. "I needed you to know the truth, even if it puts us both in danger." I stare at her, my heart pounding in my chest. This is bigger than I ever imagined, and I have no idea how to get out of it. But one thing is clear, I need to protect my family no matter the cost. "I'm going to fix this," I say, my voice hard. "But you need to disappear. Tonight, if you stay here, they'll find you." She nods, her face pale with fear. "I'll go, but please be careful." I turn and leave, my mind spinning with everything that's happened. This is just the beginning, and I have no idea how it's going to end. But one thing is certain, I'm not going to let these people destroy my life again. The drive back from Julia's house feels like a blur. My mind is racing, thoughts colliding like a storm. She's entangled with a criminal organization, and I'm caught in the crossfire. My life, my family, they're all at risk now. The need to protect them burns inside me like a fire. I have to know everything, no matter how deep this goes. But there's something I need to do first. I pull over into a dark, empty parking lot, killing the engine and sitting there in the silence. I take out my phone and dial a number I haven't called in years. Tom picks up on the third ring. "What's up?" His voice is groggy, but I can tell he's alert now. He knows I wouldn't call unless it was serious. "I need you to dig deeper into Julia's connections," I say, my voice low, urgent. "There's more going on than we thought. She's mixed up with a criminal organization. I need names, dates, anything you can find." Tom is silent for a moment, and I can almost hear him processing what I've just said. "You sure about this?" he finally asks, his tone cautious. "Yeah," I reply, my grip tightening on the phone. "I'm sure. And Tom, keep this between us. No one else can know." "You got it," he says, and I can hear the resolve in his voice. "I'll get back to you as soon as I have something." I hang up, the weight of the situation pressing down on me. My head is pounding, and I lean back against the seat, closing my eyes. I'm in way over my head, but there's no turning back now. I have to see this through for Emily, for my kids. I can't let this destroy us. When I finally get home, the house is dark and quiet. Emily is in bed, the soft rise and fall of her breathing the only sound in the room. I stand in the doorway for a moment, just watching her, feeling a pang of guilt. She has no idea what's going on, no idea that her life is in danger because of my past. I undress quietly and slip into bed beside her, careful not to wake her. But as soon as I'm lying there, the thoughts come flooding back. Julia's face, pale and scared, flashes in my mind. Her words echo in my head. "They'll kill us both if they find out I told you." I turn onto my side, facing Emily. Her warmth seeps into me, and I'm hit with a wave of protectiveness. I have to keep her safe no matter what, but how can I do that when I don't even know what I'm up against? I barely sleep that night. When the sun finally starts to creep through the curtains, I'm already wide awake, my mind still spinning. I get up quietly, not wanting to wake Emily, and head downstairs. I need to clear my head, figure out my next move. As I pour myself a cup of coffee, my phone buzzes on the counter. It's a message from Tom. "Call me. Got something." My heart pounds as I dial his number, dread coiling in my gut. "Tom," I say as soon as he picks up. "What did you find?" He doesn't waste any time. "Julia's connected to a group known as the Syndicate. They're a shadowy organization. Drugs, arms, money laundering, you name it. They operate under the radar, and they don't leave loose ends." I swallow hard, the coffee in my stomach turning sour. "And how deep is she in?" "Deep enough," Tom says grimly. "She's not just some pawn. She's been helping them clean money, moving it through legit businesses. They've got her on a tight leash, and if she tries to run, she's as good as dead. And now they'll come after you too." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. This is worse than I thought. "What do I do, Tom?" "There's not much you can do," he says, his voice heavy with resignation. "But if I were you, I'd disappear. Take your family and go off the grid. These people don't mess around." I close my eyes, my mind racing. Disappearing isn't an option. I've already put Emily and the kids in a safe place, but I can't just run. Not when this isn't over. "I can't run, Tom. I have to end this." Tom is silent for a long moment. "Then you'd better be damn careful. If you're going to take them on, you need to know what you're dealing with." "I'll figure it out," I say, determination hardening in my chest. "Thanks, Tom." "I owe you one." "Just stay alive," he says before hanging up. I set the phone down, my mind whirling. The Syndicate. The name sends a chill down my spine, but I can't let fear control me. I've faced worse enemies before, and I've survived. I just need a plan. The day passes in a haze as I try to piece everything together. Emily notices my distraction, but I brush it off, telling her I'm just stressed about work. She doesn't press me, but I can see the worry in her eyes. I hate lying to her, but it's better this way. The less she knows, the safer she is. That night, after Emily's asleep, I head to my office and start making calls. Old contacts from the military, people who owe me favors. I need resources, information, anything that can help me take down the syndicate. I'm met with skepticism and concern. "You're playing with fire, man," one of them warns me. "These guys aren't just street thugs. They've got connections in high places. You go after them, you're signing your own death warrant." But I don't care. I can't let them control my life, my family's life. I'm ready to burn everything down if it means keeping them safe. Days turn into weeks as I dig deeper, gathering intel, planning my next move. I don't tell Emily anything, but she knows something's up. I can see it in the way she looks at me, the questions she doesn't ask. It's like there's a wall between us, and every day it gets higher. One night, as I'm sitting in my office going over the latest information I've gathered, Emily walks in. She stands in the doorway, watching me for a moment before speaking. "What's going on, Matt?" I freeze, my heart pounding. "What do you mean?" "You've been distant," she says, stepping into the room. "You're always on the phone, always tense. I can feel you pulling away. What aren't you telling me?" I look at her, the concern in her eyes cutting me to the core. She deserves to know, but I can't bear the thought of dragging her deeper into this mess. But I can't lie to her anymore either. She's my wife. She has a right to know what's going on. "I've been trying to protect you," I say finally, my voice low. "From something dangerous." Her brow furrows, confusion flickering in her eyes. "What are you talking about?" I take a deep breath, the words heavy on my tongue. "Julia, she's involved with some very dangerous people, a criminal organization. And now they're a threat to us, to our family." Emily's eyes widen, fear creeping into her expression. "What? How?" "She's been helping them launder money," I explain, my stomach twisting as I see the shock on her face. "And now that I know, they'll come after us if they think we're a threat. I've been trying to figure out a way to stop them, to keep us safe." She sinks into the chair across from me, her hands trembling. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I didn't want to scare you," I say, reaching across the desk to take her hand. "I thought I could handle it, that I could protect you without getting you involved. But it's bigger than I thought. I'm sorry, Emily. I never wanted to put you in danger." She squeezes my hand, her eyes filled with tears. "We're in this together, Matt. Whatever it takes, we'll get through it. But don't shut me out. I need to know what's happening." I nod, guilt gnawing at me. "I'll tell you everything. I promise." We spend the rest of the night talking, and for the first time in weeks, I feel like we're on the same page. But there's still a long road ahead, and the danger's far from over. The next morning, I get a call from one of my old contacts. "I've got something for you," he says, his voice tense. "Meet me at the usual place." I know what that means. There's something big, something that could change everything. I grab my jacket and kiss Emily goodbye, telling her I'll be back soon. She looks at me with a mixture of hope and fear, and I give her a reassuring smile, even though I'm anything but calm inside. The usual place is a rundown warehouse on the outskirts of town, a place we used to use for meetings back when I was in the military. It's secluded, quiet, the perfect spot for a discreet exchange. When I arrive, my contact is already there, leaning against the hood of his car. He hands me a file, his expression grim. "This is everything we've got on the syndicate. It's not much, but it's a start." I flip through the file, my heart pounding as I see names, dates, locations. It's a tangled web, but there are threads I can pull. I just need to be careful, smart. One wrong move, and it could all come crashing down. "Thanks," and I say, closing the file and slipping it into my jacket. "Be careful," he warns me. "These guys don't play games. If you go after them, make sure you're ready for the consequences. I am, I reply, my voice steady. I've already lost too much. I won't lose anything more. I spend the next few days poring over the information, piecing together a plan. It's risky, but it's the only option I have. I reach out to a few more contacts, calling in favors, setting things in motion. I'm playing a dangerous game, but I'm all in now. There's no turning back. One night, as I'm sitting at the kitchen table, going over the final details of my plan, Emily comes up behind me, wrapping her arms around my shoulders. You've been working so hard, she whispers, her lips brushing against my ear. Come to bed. I turn to look at her, and the warmth in her eyes sends a shiver down my spine. It's been weeks since we've been this close, and I realize how much I've missed her touch, her presence. I pull her into my lap, my hands sliding up her back as I kiss her deeply. She responds eagerly, her fingers tangling in my hair as she presses herself against me. The tension that's been building between us melts away, replaced by a desperate need to reconnect, to remind ourselves of what we're fighting for. We make love right there on the kitchen floor, the urgency of our movements reflecting the intensity of everything that's been building inside us. It's raw, passionate, a release of all the fear and anger and love that's been trapped inside us for so long. Afterward, we lie there in each other's arms, our breathing slowing as the reality of our situation settles back in. But for a few moments, we're just us. No danger, no fear, just the two of us connected in a way that nothing can break. The next morning, I'm more determined than ever. I kiss Emily and the kids goodbye, telling them I'll be back soon, and I mean it. I'm going to end this, once and for all. I drive to the address I got from my contact, my heart pounding as I pull up to the nondescript building. This is it, the place where it all ends. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for what's to come, and step out of the car. I've come too far to back down now. It's time to face the syndicate, to end this once and for all, for my family, for myself, for everything that was taken from me. I'm ready. I stand outside the nondescript building, my heart hammering in my chest. The plan is set, and everything is in motion. I've spent weeks gathering intel, reaching out to old contacts and setting up the pieces. This is the end game, and I know there's no turning back. The building is quiet, almost eerily so, and I take a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves. My mind flashes back to the last time I spoke to Emily. I told her I loved her, that I'd be back soon. She didn't ask questions this time, but the look in her eyes told me everything. She knows the stakes are high, maybe higher than I've let on. I push the door open and step inside. The interior is dimly lit, the air thick with the smell of dust and something metallic. My senses are on high alert as I move through the hallway, my footsteps echoing off the walls. I'm prepared for anything, or at least I think I am. I reach the room where the meeting is supposed to take place. It's a large empty space with a single table in the center. I check my watch. 5 minutes until they arrive. My heart pounds harder. I've been in combat, faced death more times than I can count. But this feels different. The stakes are personal. I take a seat at the table, forcing myself to remain calm. I've run through the plan 100 times in my head, but there's always the unknown, the variable that can turn everything upside down. I can't afford to think about that now. I need to focus. The door creaks open, and I look up to see two men enter the room. They're big, muscular, the kind of men who don't need to say much to make a point. But it's the man who follows them that catches my attention. He's older, with a sharp suit and a cold, calculating expression. This is the man I've been waiting for, the leader of the syndicate. He walks to the table, his eyes never leaving mine. There's a tense silence as he takes a seat across from me, his men standing behind him like sentinels. I can feel their eyes on me, assessing, waiting. "So," he says, his voice low and menacing, "you're the man who's been causing us so much trouble." I don't flinch. I can't afford to show any weakness. "I didn't come here to cause trouble," I reply, my voice steady. "I came to make a deal." He raises an eyebrow, a smirk playing on his lips. A deal? A, and what exactly do you think you have to offer? I lean forward, my gaze locked on his. I know what you're doing. I know how you're laundering your money, who your contacts are, where your operations are based. I have enough information to bring your entire organization down. His expression darkens, but he doesn't respond. He's waiting, calculating. But I'm not interested in taking you down, I continue. I want something else. You let my family go, you leave us alone, and I'll walk away. You get to keep your empire, and I get to keep my life. He studies me for a long moment, his eyes narrowing. I can feel the tension in the room, the air thick with it. The men behind him shift, and I know they're waiting for a signal, ready to strike if things go south. You think you're in a position to negotiate? He asks, his tone cold. I know I am, I say, pulling out a small device from my pocket. I press a button, and a series of images flash across the screen. Documents, bank statements, photographs. Evidence that could destroy everything he's built. He stares at the screen, his jaw tightening. For the first time, I see a crack in his composure. He knows I'm serious, that I'm not bluffing. What do you want? He finally asks, his voice a low growl. I want you to let my ex-wife go, I say, my voice firm. She's no longer useful to you, and keeping her around is a liability. Let her disappear, and I'll give you everything I have on your rivals. I know you've been wanting to expand, and this information will give you the edge you need. In exchange, you leave my family alone. Permanently. He leans back in his chair considering. I can see the gears turning in his mind, weighing the risks and rewards. He's not used to being cornered, but he's smart enough to know when he's outplayed. Finally, he nods, a slow, deliberate motion. You have a deal, but know this. If you cross me, if you so much as breathe a word of this to anyone, I will make sure you and everyone you care about suffers. Do you understand? I understand, I say, my voice cold. But if you break our deal, you'll lose everything. And I'll make sure you're the one who suffers. He gives me a long, hard look before standing up. His men follow, and just like that, they're gone, leaving me alone in the room. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding, my heart still pounding in my chest. It's over, for now. I gather my things and leave the building, the weight of what just happened pressing down on me. I've made a deal with the devil, but it was the only way to protect my family. The thought of what could have happened if I'd failed makes me sick to my stomach, but I push it aside. There's no room for doubt now. I've done what I had to do. When I get back to the cabin, Emily's waiting for me. She rushes to the door as soon as she sees me, her face a mix of relief and fear. Is it over? She asks, her voice trembling. I pull her into my arms, holding her close. It's over, I whisper, burying my face in her hair. We're safe now. She pulls back to look at me, her eyes searching mine. What did you do? I made a deal, I say, my voice heavy. It was the only way. Her brow furrows in concern, but she doesn't press me for details. She knows there are some things better left unsaid. As long as we're together, she says softly, leaning her forehead against mine. That's all that matters. We spend the rest of the night in each other's arms, the tension slowly melting away. For the first time in weeks, I feel like I can breathe again. We've been through hell, but we made it out the other side, and I'm not going to let anything tear us apart. The next morning, I wake up to the sound of birds chirping outside the window. The sunlight streams in, casting a warm glow over the room. Emily is still asleep beside me, her breathing soft and steady. I watch her for a moment, my heart swelling with love and gratitude. She's my anchor, my reason for fighting. I don't know what I would have done without her. I slip out of bed, careful not to wake her, and head downstairs. The cabin is quiet, peaceful, a stark contrast to the chaos of the past few weeks. I make myself a cup of coffee and step out onto the porch, taking in the fresh morning air. It feels like a new beginning, a chance to finally move on. But I know it's not over yet. The syndicate is still out there, and they don't forget. I've bought us time, but I can't let my guard down. I need to stay vigilant to make sure they don't come after us again. I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family, no matter the cost. As I stand there watching the sunrise, I feel a sense of resolve settle over me. I've made mistakes, but I'm not going to let them define me. I'm going to rebuild, to make things right. For Emily, for our kids, for myself. A few days later, I get a call from Tom. He's managed to pull some strings, and the authorities are closing in on the syndicate. It's going to be a long process, but they're starting to unravel the organization, piece by piece. It's only a matter of time before they bring it down. Thanks for everything, Tom, I say, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. I couldn't have done this without you. Just glad you're still in one piece, he replies. Take care of yourself, Matt, and keep your head down. I hang up, a sense of relief washing over me. The end is in sight. I just need to hold on a little longer. In the weeks that follow, life starts to return to normal. Emily and I take the kids back home, and we start to rebuild the life we almost lost. It's not easy. There are still moments when the fear creeps back in, when I can't help but look over my shoulder. But we're stronger now, closer than ever. One night after the kids are asleep, Emily and I sit on the couch, a glass of wine in hand. We talk about the future, about the things we want to do, the places we want to see. There's a sense of hope in the air, a feeling that we've been given a second chance. As we talk, Emily rests her head on my shoulder, her fingers tracing patterns on my arm. You know, she says softly, I don't care where we go, as long as we're together. I smile, kissing the top of her head. Me too, I whisper. Me too. We sit there in comfortable silence, the weight of the past slowly lifting. We've been through the worst, and we've come out stronger. And now, for the first time in a long time, I feel like we have a future worth fighting for. But I know that there's still work to be done. The syndicate may be on the run, but they're not gone yet. And as long as they're out there, I'll be watching, waiting, ready to protect my family at all costs. I've made a promise to Emily, to our kids, to myself. I won't let the darkness take us again. We've earned our peace, and I'm going to make damn sure we keep it. The journey isn't over, but I'm ready for whatever comes next. I've faced the worst, and I'm still standing. And with Emily by my side, I know we can face anything. As the night wears on, we fall asleep on the couch, wrapped in each other's arms. The future may be uncertain, but as long as we're together, I know we'll be okay. And for now, that's enough. The day of the trial arrives, and my nerves are raw. The courthouse looms ahead, a cold, imposing structure that seems to swallow the light. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me, but it's no use. The last few weeks have been a blur of preparation and fear, and now it all comes down to this. Emily walks beside me, her hand gripping mine tightly. I can feel the tension in her, the unspoken worry that hangs between us. She's been my rock through all of this, but I know she's scared. I'm scared too. What happens in that courtroom today will change everything. As we step inside, the noise of the outside world fades away, replaced by the sterile quiet of the courthouse. The walls are lined with old wood, and the air smells faintly of disinfectant. The sound of our footsteps echoes off the marble floor as we make our way to the courtroom. My heart is pounding in my chest, a steady, relentless beat that drowns out everything else. We take our seats and I scan the room. It's filled with people, lawyers, reporters, strangers who have no idea how much is at stake. And then there's Julia, sitting with her attorney, her face pale and drawn. She looks small, vulnerable, nothing like the woman I once knew. I can see the fear in her eyes too, but it's different from mine. Hers is the fear of a cornered animal, knowing there's no way out. The trial begins, and the first few hours pass in a haze. The prosecution lays out their case, detailing Julia's involvement with the syndicate, the money laundering, the connections to organized crime. I sit there listening, but it all feels distant, like it's happening to someone else. I'm just a spectator in my own life. Then it's my turn. I'm called to the stand, and I can feel every eye in the room on me as I make my way to the front. The weight of their expectations is crushing, but I push it aside. I have to focus. I have to get through this. The questions come fast, each one like a blow, and I do my best to answer them to stay composed. But it's hard. The memories they dredge up are like knives in my gut, cutting deep, reopening old wounds I thought had healed. Tell us about the moment you discovered your ex-wife's involvement with the syndicate, the prosecutor says, his voice sharp and probing. I swallow hard, my throat dry. It was a shock, I begin, my voice hoarse. I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence was there, and I couldn't ignore it. I had to protect my family. And how did you feel when you realized the danger she had put you and your family in? The question hangs in the air, and for a moment, I don't know how to answer. How did I feel? Angry, betrayed, terrified. None of those words seemed big enough to capture the storm inside me. I felt like my world was falling apart, I finally say, my voice barely above a whisper. I trusted her, and she betrayed that trust in the worst way possible. But I couldn't let that destroy us. I had to do whatever it took to keep my family safe. There's a murmur in the courtroom, a ripple of emotion that spreads through the crowd. I glance at Emily and she gives me a small, reassuring smile. It's enough to keep me going. The prosecutor nods, satisfied, and moves on to the next question. But I'm barely listening. My mind is racing, replaying everything that's happened, everything that's led up to this moment. I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, and the ground is crumbling beneath my feet. Finally, the questioning is over, and I'm allowed to step down. As I walk back to my seat, I feel like a ghost, hollow and drained. I've given everything I have, but I'm not sure it's enough. The rest of the trial passes in a blur. The defense tries to poke holes in the prosecution's case, but it's clear they're grasping at straws. The evidence against Julia is overwhelming, and everyone in the room knows it, but that doesn't make it any easier to watch. I can see the moment Julia realizes it too. Her face crumples and she buries her head in her hands. It's a sight that should bring me some sense of satisfaction, but all I feel is a deep, aching sadness. This is the woman I once loved, the woman I built a life with, and now she's being torn apart in front of me. The judge calls a recess, and Emily and I step outside to get some air. The sky's overcast, a heavy blanket of clouds that mirrors the weight in my chest. We stand there in silence for a moment, the sounds of the city humming around us. Emily turns to me, her eyes filled with concern. Are you okay? I nod, but the truth is, I don't know if I am. I feel like I'm unraveling, like everything I've tried to hold together is slipping through my fingers. I don't know, I admit, my voice barely above a whisper. She reaches out, taking my hand in hers. We'll get through this, she says, her voice steady and sure. No matter what happens in there, we'll get through it together. I squeeze her hand, drawing strength from her. She's right. We've faced worse, and we've come out stronger. We can do this. We have to. When we go back inside, the tension in the courtroom is palpable. The judge takes his seat and everyone falls silent, waiting for the verdict. My heart pounds in my chest, the suspense almost unbearable. The judge clears his throat, and I hold my breath. In the case of the state versus Julia Reynolds, I find the defendant guilty on all charges. The words hit me like a punch to the gut, and for a moment I can't breathe. It's over. The trial is over. Julia is going to prison, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. I glance at her, and she's staring straight ahead, her face pale and expressionless. I wonder what she's thinking, if she's relieved it's over or if she's terrified of what's to come. But I'll never know. Whatever connection we once had is gone, severed by the choices we made, by the secrets we kept. As the judge delivers the sentence, 20 years with no possibility of parole, I feel a strange mix of emotions. Relief, yes, but also a deep, gnawing sadness. This isn't how I wanted things to end, but it's the only way they could. The courtroom begins to empty, but I remain seated, staring at the spot where Julia sat just moments ago. Emily stands beside me, her hand on my shoulder, but I can't bring myself to move. It feels like I'm rooted to the spot, trapped by the weight of everything that's happened. Finally, I force myself to stand, my legs shaky beneath me. "Let's go," I say, my voice rough. We leave the courthouse, stepping out into the gray afternoon. The world feels different, like something fundamental has shifted. I've won in a way, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like I've lost something, something I can't ever get back. As we walk to the car, Emily slips her hand into mine, and I hold on tight. She's my anchor, the one thing that's kept me from sinking. And as we drive away, I know that whatever happens next, we'll face it together. But even as I try to focus on the future, the past lingers, a shadow that won't let me go. The trial may be over, but the scars it's left behind are deep, and I'm not sure they'll ever fully heal. The days that follow are a blur of media attention, reporters hounding us for statements, people treating me like some kind of hero. But I don't feel like a hero. I feel like a man who's barely holding on, a man who's lost more than he's won. I try to go back to normal, to find some sense of routine, but it's harder than I expected. Every time I close my eyes, I see Julia's face, hear her voice. The memories of what we once had clash with the reality of what she became, and it tears me apart. Emily notices, of course. She tries to help, to be there for me, but I can see the strain it's putting on her. She's been through so much already, and now I'm dragging her through even more. It's not fair, but I don't know how to stop it. One night, as we lie in bed, she turns to me, her voice soft and full of concern. "You need to let it go, Matt. You did everything you could. You saved us. But you can't keep holding on to this. It's going to destroy you." I don't respond, but her words echo in my mind. She's right. I need to let go, but I don't know how. I lie awake long after she's fallen asleep, staring at the ceiling, the weight of everything pressing down on me. I know I need to move on, to focus on the future, but the past keeps pulling me back. As I close my eyes, I make a decision. Tomorrow I'll start the process of healing. I'll take the steps I need to take, one day at a time. For Emily, for our kids, for myself. The trial may be over, but the real battle is just beginning. The battle to find peace, to rebuild, to move on. It won't be easy, but I know I can do it. I have to. Because in the end, that's all we can do. Keep moving forward, one step at a time. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find the peace we've been searching for. The trial is over. Julia's gone, sentenced to 20 years behind bars, and with her, the weight of a decade of lies, deceit, and danger. As I sit in the quiet of our living room, the reality of it all starts to sink in. The dust has settled, but I'm left wondering what's next. The life I knew, the man I was before all this started, feels like a distant memory. I've been through hell and back, and while the worst is behind me, I know the scars will remain. Emily is upstairs putting the kids to bed. I can hear the soft murmur of her voice, the laughter of our children, and it hits me how much I've almost lost. This family, this life, we've come so close to losing it all, but we're still here. We're still standing. I walk to the window looking out over the backyard. The sun is setting, casting a warm, golden glow over everything. It's peaceful, serene, a stark contrast to the chaos that's defined my life for so long. I want to hold on to this moment, to let it be the start of something new. But even as I try to focus on the future, the past lingers in the background. I think about Julia, about the woman I once loved, and the choices that led us to this point. There's a part of me that will always wonder what could have been, what might have happened if things had been different. But I can't dwell on that. I've made my choices, and now I have to live with them. Emily comes downstairs, her footsteps light on the floor. She finds me at the window, her arms slipping around my waist as she rests her head on my shoulder. "They're finally asleep," she says with a soft laugh. "I think they're as exhausted as we are." I turn to her, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "You've been amazing through all of this," I say, my voice thick with emotion. "I don't know how I would have gotten through it without you." She smiles, but there's a shadow in her eyes, a reminder of everything we've been through. "We got through it together," she says, and we'll keep getting through it, no matter what comes next. I nod, pulling her closer. I know, but I want to make things right, Emily. I want to rebuild what we have, to be the husband and father you deserve. You already are, she whispers, her lips brushing against mine. The kiss is slow, tender, a promise of better days ahead. But there's a fire there too, a lingering heat that's been simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to ignite. We make love right there, in the fading light of the setting sun, the tension and fear of the past few weeks finally melting away. It's raw, passionate, a reconnection that we both desperately need. For a little while, everything else fades away, and it's just us. No past, no future, just the here and now. Afterward, we lie together on the couch, wrapped in each other's arms. The house is quiet, the only sound our breathing as it slowly returns to normal. I feel a sense of peace that I haven't felt in a long time, a sense that maybe, just maybe, everything is going to be okay. We've been through a lot, Emily says softly, her fingers tracing patterns on my chest. But I think it's made us stronger. I nod, pressing a kiss to her forehead. It has. And I promise you, I'm not going to let anything come between us again. I know you won't, she says with a smile. And neither will I. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, the weight of the past slowly lifting. But even as we begin to look forward, I know that the shadows of what we've been through will always be there. It's part of us now, part of who we are. A few days later, I get a call from Tom. The investigation into the syndicate is ongoing, but the major players have been arrested, and the organization is starting to crumble. It's good news, the kind that should bring relief, but I can't help but feel a twinge of unease. The battle might be over, but the war isn't won yet. There are still loose ends, still dangers lurking in the shadows. Thanks for everything, Tom, I say, my voice heavy with gratitude. I don't know how to repay you. Just stay safe, Matt, he replies. You've been through enough. It's time to start living again. His words stick with me, a reminder that I can't let the past define me. I need to move on, to rebuild, to find a way to live again. And that's exactly what I plan to do. As the weeks pass, life slowly starts to return to normal. Emily and I focus on the kids, on our future, on the things that really matter. We take small steps, day by day, rebuilding the life that was almost torn apart. But I know that the journey isn't over. There will be challenges ahead, moments when the past threatens to pull us back. But we're stronger now, more resilient. We've faced the worst, and we've come out the other side. And that gives me hope. One evening, as the sun sets over the horizon, I find myself standing in the backyard, looking out at the world around me. The air is cool, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. It's a beautiful sight, one that fills me with a sense of peace. Emily comes out to join me, slipping her hand into mine. We stand there together, watching the sun dip below the horizon, the world bathed in the soft glow of twilight. What are you thinking about? She asks, her voice gentle. I take a deep breath, letting the cool evening air fill my lungs. The future, I say, my voice steady. And how lucky I am to have you by my side. She smiles, leaning her head against my shoulder. We've got a lot to look forward to, she says, and we'll face it together, no matter what. I nod, feeling a sense of calm settle over me. The past may always be with us, but it doesn't have to define us. We've been through the storm, and now it's time to enjoy the calm. As I stand there holding the woman I love, I realize that while the journey has been long and painful, it's also brought us closer together. We're stronger, wiser, more connected than ever before. And as we look out over the horizon, I know that whatever comes next, we'll face it together. The worst is behind us, but the journey is far from over. And for the first time in a long time, I'm okay with that. Because as long as we have each other, I know we can face anything.